Welcome to day 8 of Leetcode May challenge. Today we have question number 341, Flatten nested list iterator. So in this question they have given us a nested list of integers. Each element is either an integer or a list whose element may also be integer or other list. We have to implement an iterator to flatten it. We have to implement the nested iterator class, which has one constructor, that is nested iterator, and two methods, next of integer type and has next of boolean type. As we can see in example 1, here we have given a list, and inside list we have another list of 1 comma 1, an integer of type like integer 2, and the second list, that is another again 1 comma 1. So we have to flatten this nested list, and we have to give this as an output. We have to give this list, that is 1 comma 1, 2 comma 1 comma 1. So in the constructor we can see there is the list given to us of the type nested integer. So inside nested integer we have three method, that is one is integer, that will tell us whether if the input is this, whether it is like the list or whether it's just 2, that is an integer. True, it will give like the boolean value true or false. And the second method is get integer. If it is the integer value, it will return as the integer, and get list, it will return as the list. So let's understand this question through this example. I have considered this example where we have an element 8, then like on the index 0 we have element 8, and on the index 1 we have the element 4, and inside 4 we have two lists. That one list is 6, 5 and 3, and another list is 2 and 3. Then on the index 2 we have element 5, and inside element 5 we have one list, that is 1, and inside 1 we have the other list that has the element 2. And then we have our at the third index we have element 7. At the element 7 we have this nested list, that is 1, 9 and 4, and we have to flatten it. So how can we read this? So our output will somewhat come like this. First we will read this and we will add it in our list, and then we will go to this, our next index, and then we will add this in our list, and then we will check whether it's next. Then we will check like as it has the nested list inside it, so we will go at this list of 6, 5 and 3, and we will add these element in our output, in our the flatten this is the flatten array which we are making, so or the flatten list. So we will add this element in our flatten list, and then we will go again, as 4 has two lists inside us. We have traversed through 6, 5 and 3, and then it has 2 and 3. Then again we will add 2 and 3 in our list, and then we will go to our second index, and at the second index we have element 5. We'll add it to our list, and inside index 2 we have another list, that is 1. So we will go and iterate to 1 and add it in our list, and again inside this list 1 we have other list which has the element 2. We will iterate and add this second 2 to our list. This is the flatten list. Basically this is our flatten list which we are getting. Okay, and then we will go to our last index 7, and inside 7 we have another list nested in it, that is 1, 9 and 4. So this is how our nested list will look like, and this is what we have to give as in this is what will come in a flatten list. So let's implement it. First thing is we have to complete two method, that is next and has next, and we have to complete one constructor. So our first thing is we will create a list of type integer, and we will name it as flatten list. We will make it global, so we will initialize it over here. Flatten list is equals to array list, and what we will do is we will iterate through this nested list. This is of nested integer and this is our nested, we'll loop over nested list, and we will make one helper function that is flatten, that will basically add, like, flatten all the list and will like return the flatten list, like flatten all the this output nested list and will add element in a flatten list. Okay, so here we will pass this element. Now we will create this helper function which is private void, and name is flatten. It will take nested integer value as an parameter. We will pass this as parameter, and first we will check whether this value is integer or not. As we already know, it is of nested integer, like it's of type nested integer, and we have this function is integer that will give us like whether this is integer or this is a list. So we will check whether it's integer or it's a list. If it is the integer, then what we will do, if it's the integer, then simple, we will simply add this element flatten list dot add this value. Otherwise what we will do, otherwise we obviously know if it's not an integer, it's obviously a list, so we will iterate through that and we will make integer element that will iterate through val dot get. We have this function get list function, and that what we are using here, and again recursion we will call the same method and we will pass this element to it. So this is how our flatten list will be filled by this number. And now we have to write next function. So what we will do, we will make here the variable of type current, and we have to return flatten list dot get this current value, and we'll increment it. And boolean next we just have to return if this current is next less than the flatten list size, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Let's run this code. It's working. Let's submit it. Yeah, it's done. Thank you.